Hello and welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Nancy Newton and I am the marketing manager for public safety with TCP. I am joined by Anthony Jackson, who's a tier 2 technician. He is going to be walking through the Aladtec scheduling system with you. Just to give you a little background, the Aladtec scheduling software was actually created specifically for public safety industries. So we do have a good understanding of the pain points that you all have with scheduling employees. And we hope to show you today how Aladtec can help you in all of this. Feel free to ask any questions. There's a chat window in the panel, so feel free to throw those in at any time and we'll get those answered. We've also posted some handouts in the panel as well, so you are free to download those as well. So to get started here, what are we going to be covering today? We're going to actually walk through the whole system kind of at a high level, an introduction to Aladtec. We're going to show you the member database where you can store all of the member information, where you can send messages and track data. The schedule views, which you can customize schedules, for 24/7 shifts. You can organize and move members around. We also have available a forms library, basically, where you can create and customize forms. We even offer over 200 plus pre-made sample forms that you can use as well. And then we also have a lot of different reports, and you can show how you can get the information out of your system, right, with whether it's getting payroll in place, entering work rules, overtime, how much overtime you have, and things like that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Anthony, who will take you into the Aladtec system.
Thank you, Nancy. Let me take control here. Let's see here. I did it again, I know it. And let's see here, we should be able to see my screen now. All right, so again, welcome. So right off the bat, when you begin your subscription with Aladtec, you're gonna get an email that is going to have a link where you're gonna create your own password. Once you create your own password, you'll use your email and the password you created to log in to the Aladtec system. Now, each system has its own keyword. So up at the top here in the address bar, I'm not quite sure if you can see this well or not, but the web address is always going to be aladtec.com/, and then it's / your keyword. So in this case, we've got new war J here. And this is my keyword, if you will. There's no app, if you will, to download or anything like that. So you're going to always want to know your address. So depending on if it's a laptop, desktop, phone, or tablet, you're always going to dial up aladtec.com / your keyword, and then that will take you to the welcome page, and you'll use your credentials to log in, and you'll land here on the home page. So as you can see here, I just have the Maltese cross here with some text, welcome firefighters. And then on the right here is we have our dashboard. And this is basically what's going on in the system at this moment. So as an administrator, I can see that I've got some extra hours requests. I have some trade requests. Someone's signing, there's 5 signups that need to be processed, and there's some PTO requests that need to be processed as well. I'm also going to see my upcoming shifts that I'm actually scheduled for. And I can also see if there's any data that we're capturing about our staff that's going to expire, whether it's CPR or any of the other kinds of certifications that your organization tracks. I can click on this value here, and I can see who's expired and what they've expired from. And then I can also see if there's going to be any kind of member that is going to expire soon. And then I can just, notify them if needs be about what's going on. I'll also see the next 5 events that are coming up, if there's any trades that I can participate in, and if there's anything going on in our discussion area, which is our version of a forum, if I want to participate in any of those kinds of conversations. Okay, so a quick high-level overview of the navigation that we have here. I'm logged in as an administrator, and End users have a slightly different navigation here. So as I'm hovering over these navigational items, I can see I've got home, and I've got the home page editor, and required messages. And the home page editor is, this is your system. You can do whatever you want with this home page. I just happen to put this image here, but you can certainly come in here and add your own photos, whether it's of the vehicles that you use, or if it's the company photo, or you can use this as a whiteboard and use this for announcements, happy birthday, whatever the case may be. You can just simply come into the editor and then make any changes you want to, and then you'll see that displayed here. Members, this is where we can click to get into the member database, and I'll show you a little bit more of that in just a minute. Schedules is going to give us the various schedule views that we have, and how people can go to their own My Schedule to see their own personal shifts and request various transactions. And then down below, you can see I've got more administrative views and options that the end users won't see. So their navigation is slightly different. And I'll show you that in just a second. Forms, if there's any forms that have been built, you'll always see them listed here. Forms are form specific, so I'm only going to see the forms that I'm allowed to fill out. As an administrator, I'm going to see all the forms that I can administrate or process. Reports, these are all the various reports, and I'll dig into this a little bit later, that we have. Storage is going to be where we have 200 gigs of storage where you can upload your files, videos if you want, any kind of information that you want your personnel to have access to. Discussions, as I had mentioned earlier, is our version of a forum where you can create categories and then topics within those categories, and then your personnel can participate in those conversations. And then finally, we have the help section that's going to have various videos, depending on whether you're an administrator or an end user, to walk you through how to perform those particular tasks. So again, I'm just going to click on home, looking at it from an administrative point of view, and you can see the navigational item there. I'm just going to jump into another individual, and you can see how it's slightly changed. So I have home, I no longer have members, but I have my info, and this is what the individual is going to click on to update their own personal information. They still have schedules, but they now only can see my schedule and trades. And again, my schedule is going to be where they can see their own shifts, whether they want to perform trades or request time off and things along those lines. Forms, same idea. They're only going to see the forms that they're available to submit or allowed to submit. And then reports, when they click on reports, it's always going to take them to the individual member report, and it's all about them. They're not an administrator. They cannot pull reports on other people. So all of this data is about themselves. When they click on storage, they can only see and download the information that you allow. So you certainly, as an administrator, have control over what they can see and what they can download, where you can create folders and whatnot. And if you need to, you can add restrictions. Discussions is the same version, is the same, where they can participate in the various topics and categories. And like I say, participate in those conversations. And again, help is the same idea, where they can only see the videos that are relevant to the transactions that they can perform. All right, so back to members here. I'm just going to click on members, and this is going to take us into the database itself. So this is where all of your people live. When you first come on with the Aladtec and you create your subscription, we here at Aladtec will import your personnel, okay? This isn't something that you have to do, adding people one by one by one. We'll do a batch edit and upload everybody into your database. And then here's where you would come if you need to edit somebody. You just hover over their name and you can edit their profile, and you can come in here and edit whatever information you're capturing about that person. And then as I hover over members, you can see that there's a member database configurator. And this is how you would set up your profile page. This is where you're going to say, I want to capture this kind of information and that information. Whether you want to repurpose any of the fields that we have out of the box, you certainly can do that. You can create new sections, You see you've got emergency contact. Maybe you have uniform sizes. Back in the day, maybe you had pagers that you carried and you could add those phone numbers and things along those lines. So this is where you would configure the data you want to capture. And then that's going to be, excuse me, that's what you're going to see when you're actually in the database. And then when you edit a person's profile, this is where you're going to see that information, as you can see. That's the member database. Also in here, we have different filters where I can click on edit. And if I want to, I can pull a filter and I can say I want to look at somebody who's qualified for a particular schedule or position, or if I want to look at just certain certifications and see who's valid and who's going to expire and things along those lines, I can certainly put on those filters and really get down to what I'm working on and not have it to weed through additional noise, if you will. I also have the availability to message people from the database. So if I wanted to, I could use one of these filters and I can, maybe I want to just message battalion chiefs or captains or lieutenants or simply just firefighters. I can put a filter on and just weed everybody else out. I could select who's remaining, and then I can send a message. And I have the availability to send an email and text at one shot, or I could send just an email or just a text. And then that would go out to the email that's captured in their profile and the phone number or phone numbers that's captured in their profile as well. Okay. Moving on, so I'm just going to click on schedules here, and this is going to take me to my default view. In this case, up at the top right, you'll see we have these calendar icons, day, week, custom, and monthly. So we've got monthly calendar and roster, custom range, pay period or pay periods, depending if you need to set up more than one, weekly blocks and shifts, and daily blocks and summary. I can look at any one of these. End users can, they'll click on schedules and it'll take you to whatever you define as the default view. Any one of these can be your default view. But once you land there, everybody can always navigate to a different view that appeals to them more so. From here, we have this little blue edit here. Edit is basically where you would go to turn on and off the various attributes of that page. Okay, so I might have 10 schedules in here, but I'm only looking at 4 of them. So I can turn them all on, I can turn them all off, and just look at the ones that interest me. I have also, I can see extra hours, I can see signups, time off, trades. I can turn all that business on and off if I'd like to, if that really doesn't interest on why I'm looking at the schedule at the time, and turn them all on again if that's what I'm interested in the case, like I would like to process these transactions that I saw when I was on the home page over in the dashboard. I saw that these transactions exist. I can certainly process them here. And that's just a matter of clicking on the transaction and I can approve them or deny them right here from the schedule views. Like here's a sign up that Mr. Anderson is looking to be on the East 52 days schedule as the driver. I can just simply approve that, and that's going to put him on that schedule, and he's going to get notified that he is now scheduled for that shift. From here, again, is the My Schedule page. You can hover over Schedules, My Schedule, and it will take you to your schedule and you can see all the various shifts that you're scheduled for. If you want to, you can turn on open shifts and sign up for additional shifts outside of your normal scheduled time. But this is where you would come in if you'd like to request time off, or if you'd like to trade your shift away, you can certainly request trades from here. If you'd like to request extra hours or submit availability and things along those lines, this is where you're going to do it. You're going to do it from your My Schedule page. Excuse me. Back at the schedule views here, as an administrator, as I can see, these little purple or open shifts is what we call them here. If I want to, I can certainly broadcast a coverage alert, letting our personnel know that we've got deficiencies here and that we need additional help. I can simply hover over the schedule in question, and I can send a coverage alert. You can see that I have the driver and 2 firefighter positions selected. It's going to go to all of my unscheduled members, and I can just hit send, and that will broadcast to our personnel. They'll get an email letting them know that we're looking for help for this particular schedule in this particular position from this time to this time on this date. That's the email they would get. The text is far more succinct because of character limitations. It's just going to tell them, hey, on this day and this time we're looking for help, and then they can log in and sign up for those shifts as we looked at on the My Schedule page. Okay, so going back to My Schedule, I can also scroll down and you can see what it would look like on their mobile device. So this is kind of a big shot picture, or a big picture, if you will, of your mobile device. If it was a tablet or if it was your phone, you would see that you can just come on and there's open shifts that you can sign up for. You can find open shifts, and then you can navigate to the various days and so on and so forth and sign up for them. All right. So now I'm back to the full site. And next we're moving to forms. So as I had mentioned earlier, forms, and actually what Nancy had mentioned earlier, was the pre-made forms that we already have. So I can come into the edit form configuration and I can click on add new form, and here's that library that she had mentioned. And as you can see, we've got various categories of forms that you can choose from, and you can scroll up and down and kind of find one that it would be a good template for what you're trying to capture. And that's what I did here. I clicked on truck checklist, and that's what popped this up. And then from here, I can, again, use this as a template, and I can repurpose any of these fields to do whatever I want, to capture whatever information I'd like to. Okay, and then once you're done, you're going to save that, and then through the settings, you would say who can submit the form, who can view submissions, who needs to be notified about the form being submitted, who needs to be able to modify the form once it's been submitted. That's all held right here in the settings area. All right. I'm going to go back to schedules for a half a second here, because I wanted to point out the shift labels and kind of understand, how we tailor this more to the fire personnel. So as you can see, I've got red, gold, and black shift labels set up in a 24/48 configuration. It's not as simple. Excuse me. We can do more than just simply do 24/48. Obviously, fire organizations do 48/96s. They do Californias, modified Californias, even Pitmans. You also may know them as Panama rotations. But as long as it goes in a circle, we can create shift labels that will let you know what days on, what platoon, shift, whatever verbiage you use. Okay. So I just want you to be aware that it's not limited to 24/48. It can be basically whatever you guys do. Okay. Now, when it comes to scheduling people, we have what's called a feature called repeats and rotations. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on repeats and rotations here, and I'm going to open in a new tab, because I can run as many sessions of Aladtec as I want. And this is especially useful if you have more than one monitor. So I can switch tabs, and you can see I have my other session of repeats and rotations. If I want to, I can just click and drag this to my other monitor, and now I can really increase my efficiency. But the point of repeats and rotations is when I need to get my schedule up and going, it's very simple. All I need to do is select the individual in question, what schedule I'm going to put them on, what position I want to put them in. If we're using time types, I can certainly set that, whether it's regular time or if this is training or any other kind of time other than regular, I can certainly set that. But then the repetition type, by default, we know we have up to 12 weeks, and then we have the customs in here. And you can see I've got other rotations in here that I've been testing out. But again, here's the 24/48. The 12's on and 24's off. This would be more the Panama rotation or the modified California that I had mentioned. So if I select the 24/48, it's just a matter of the start time and the start date. Okay, this is just going to default to today's date, and it's going to default out 2 years from now. And then once I set Mr. Anderson, it's just going to show up as you would see here. He would be on Redshift in a 24/48 configuration. And then I just move on to the next person and right on down the line until my schedule is filled out. And then I'm done. And I don't have to recreate the wheel over and over and over. It's set and done, and I just have to manage it from there going forward. So that's the feature we use to get everybody on their rotation quick and easily. All right. Next here we have reports, and we kind of
Yeah,
looked at.
Anthony, can I interrupt here with you for just a minute?
By
We
all
had
means.
a great question here that I wanted to ask. If you go back to your schedules, I know before you had brought up the signups and things like that. So we just have somebody that's asking if they have with their union rules, they have to have open just based on seniority. So they're wondering if you were to send out, coverage alert or having an open shift, can it go to an individual? And then if they don't respond in a given time, can it be offered to the next individual?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, good question. Thanks for asking that. We do have, as I had mentioned earlier, like the coverage alert here. I had just hovered over the particular schedule and I clicked send coverage alert. The one I was demonstrating was called a simultaneous notification, and that's just going to go to everybody who's qualified for that particular schedule, position, and time that's not on approved time off, and it's going to deliver it to everybody at the same time. Okay, and then they can sign up for it if they want to or not, or ignore it. We also have staggered notifications, and I think that's kind of what the question is referring to, where I can create criteria, if you will, that maybe it needs to go to the most senior person with the least amount of hours, or the least amount of hours, and then by shift if I wanted to. The criteria can be set up however you want to. And then as you can see, I've got a preview here, and it's going to tell me, okay, based on your criteria, this is the order in which it will go. And then I can determine the interval. So I can say, okay, send it to this person and wait 15 minutes. And if you don't get anything, then go on to the next person. Okay. So I think that, I hope that answers the question there. Yeah, you can set up a notification list, if you will, and it will go, by criteria from one person to the next person to the next person. And then you can say, okay, well, once someone takes it, go ahead and take it and terminate the list, or let it go to administration and say, okay, yes, that's fine, and approve it, or deny it, and then it'll continue on going down the list. Good question. Okay, so back to reports here. And as I had mentioned, we kind of looked at the individual member report from the end user's perspective, but as an administrator, if I click on the individual member report, I now have the ability to navigate to the various personnel in my roster, and I could pull a report on them for whatever day or week or custom range or monthly. And so I have that availability as an administrator. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the reports here, but suffice it to say, we've got summary reports, scheduled time reports. If you happen to be using our time clock feature, you would have a time clock report. We've got trade reports, payroll reports. The payroll report is a special report that's relatively new to the Aladtec platform that you can configure back and set up, where you can add rules where based on certain pay profiles, whether or not you need to observe certain holidays or not. As we were looking at repeats and rotations, we had briefly saw time types. In the payroll report, you can say whether you want to observe certain time types, and if there's going to be overtime, that it requires you to work so much time before overtime kicks in, or work limit rules and things of that nature. That's the payroll report. And I'll just kind of jump into it for a second, so you can see, we've got regular time, any PTO that's relevant, and then what their total hours are based on a pay period or custom range. So this is a little bit more of a dynamic report, but it's one of our newer reports, and we're rather proud of it. Below that we have what's called the system log, and this is or a transactional log. This is keeping track of all the transactions that's happening on a day-to-day basis. As you can see here, in a custom range here from April to May, and I can switch to monthly and be in April, the first of the first. And you can see it's counting backwards chronologically, and you can see the various things that I've done in preparation for this webinar. I had, made some changes to demonstrate, and you can see in here what I was doing. I had approved that sign up for Scott Anderson, and I approved those extra hours for Mr. Cedarland. And then before that, I had made requests and so on and so forth. So this transactional log is keeping track of all of that, and nobody can change that. I can't change that. Our customers can't change that. This is hard-coded read only. Now, we also have a sister report from the system log under schedules called the change request log. And this basically has everything to do with time as far as PTO, trades, signups, and things of that nature. Up here, again, here's my edit. Again, what I can turn on and off. So if I'm only interested in people who are requesting time off, I can turn off the other signups, trades, and extra hours and really narrow down what I'm looking for based on whatever time frame is relevant to my investigation. Okay, and then I can see when it was submitted, what type of time it was, in this case PTO, what kind of PTO was requested, from when to when, what was the last action, and who did it. So this is, like I said, a sister report to the system log, so that I can basically put together any kind of puzzle and paint the picture of what happened and why things have happened from that point of view. Again, we're back to, actually, let me finish with reports here. Down at the bottom, we've got reports from forms. So depending on how many forms you have, right? Most of our organizations have upwards of, 15 plus types of forms that they're using on a daily basis. So you could hover over reports, and then all of your reports would be listed below here, that you could pull a report on those various forms, whether it's timesheets, truck checklists, and things of that nature. You can get in there and pull a report on specific fields in that form, as opposed to the whole form as needs be, depending on, again, what information you're trying to capture. And then we're back to storage. So this is where, again, you can create folders, you can upload documents, whether it's policies that you want to upload, any kind of videos that might help on training videos and things of that nature. This is where you would upload them and add any kind of permissions to folders if needs be. And again, on the other side of it, your end users, this is where they're going to come and download that information for their consumption. Again, discussions, same again, where we can create categories, and then our end users can create topics within those categories and have those internal conversations. And then I'm back to help. And again, here's the videos and tech tips, but also here's our contact us information. Again, I'm in the support department, and we're here Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Central. Here's our email if you want to send in something that's not time sensitive. Anything, I would say anything over 24 hours would be not time sensitive. Just go ahead and send us an email and we'll get back to you. Usually we're going to get back to you within a couple hours, but if you send it at the end of the week, we probably won't get back to you until Monday. But here's our phone number that you can certainly call us at. Here's the chat if you want to open up a chat with us. So you've got a few ways of getting a hold of us, but we're more than welcome. We encourage you, I should say, to open up a dialogue with us, and we'll walk through whatever you need help with. So one of the other features I just wanted to quick touch base on that we find is a unique feature is what we call required messages. So a required message, when I click on this, it's just like another email that you've sent a million times before. You give it a nice title, relevant information in here. I'll back that up. Let me see. So happy. What is today? Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right? Wednesday it is. Happy Wednesday. I can select whoever I want to send this to. So individually, by access level, by work group. I can send, I'm just going to send it to Scott Anderson. I save this. And then so the next time Scott Anderson is in, either logs in or updates, moves from one page to another, he would get this message from the administrator. Now he can't just hit continue and blow by it and come back to it when he feels like it. He does have to agree to this message, okay? And then he can click continue and it'll let him into the system to do whatever he came for. Now he can always come back to required messages and he can see message that he was a recipient of, but more to the point, me as the author, I can click on it and I can see who I sent it to and when they read it, and now I can hold them accountable for that information. This is one of those Aladtec features that we're kind of proud of, and we get a good smile. Our customers really enjoy that feature. But that's quite the high-level overview. I believe Nancy had a few more things that she wanted to say, but if there's any questions, by all means, now's the time.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Yep, I just wanted to actually just follow up with just a few things. We had some great questions. I was able to answer a lot of those on the side there, so appreciate all the questions you had. And I think I got them all answered. If you do have additional questions, feel free to, just give us a call. One of our account executives can speak with you. If you do have any interest in downloading a free trial, you can go to aladtec.com and you can get that trial right away to play around with it. Or if you just want to have some additional information, it's there as well, or give us a call if you want to speak with a sales rep at all. So, and then just wanted to say thanks for everybody's time. We really appreciate you joining us. And if there's anything else we can help you with, just reach out. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.